Most people are used to complain about life. Everything is wrong, people are not the same, and they themselves are not the same as they want. We live in the day of the groundhog that hates us, where events, emotions, and actions are repeated from day to day in day. All modern life is built so that infinity hostile a person simply has no time to think who he is, what he does, how he lives, what he feels, what he believes in, and what is the meaning of his life. Remember, understanding the importance of these issues only comes to us in any critical situations. It's the moments of implementations, as it seems to him, of the worst case scenario in life that an insight can open to a person. When he looks at his life as it from the outside and realizes that something is not going at all. Consciousness breaks through a horizon limited by stereotypes and dogmas. How a squirrel breaks out of running in a circle and understanding all its absurdity. But why does this necessarily require suffering? There's another way, the path of consciousness. The name of Joe Dispenza is known by many. This is one of the most influential people of our time in the field of studying the possibility of the human psyche and thinking. He was forced to deal with these directions by an accident and the choice before which life put him. Joe had a car accident, as a result of which his spine was broken in 6 places. Doctors offered treatment operation to fix vertebra with drill rods. However, they could not guarantee a successful outcome of the operations, while it could lead to terrible lifelong pain and had a long rehabilitation process. Joe Dispenza refused surgery and decided to heal himself with his own thoughts. He was not thinking about what he did not want, to be sick and not to be able to walk, but only about what he wanted. Every day for several hours he meditated, visualizing the result, a completely healthy spine. And after just 9.5 weeks he got up to. The experience changed, and the fact that the result was achieved so quickly stunned him, and he devoted his life to exploring the capability of the human brain. Therefore, in the modern world, for many, the name Joe Dispenza and the word subconsciousness have become synonymous. In the source of research, he came to the understanding that everything in the university exists in an infinity field filled with frequency or energy. Nikola Tesla made the same discovery, but the Serbian science worked with energy, conducting incredible experiments with it. Joe Dispenza also investigated the ability of man to influence, as he called it, a quantum field. The first step in the research path was to communicate with people who have experienced spontaneous remissions. That is healing that is impossible from the point of view of official medicine. During the therapy, Dispenza found out that all these people were convinced that thought is primary in relations to matter. He came to the conclusion that in a quantum field, at the same time, there's all potentials, opportunity, and scenarios for humans, as well as the limitless amount of energy that is available to our desires. Controlling the flow of thoughts, we are able to not only to change our life and fate, but also to rewrite the temporal and even genetic codes. And the power of influence depends only on human fate and effort. This is exactly what Joe Dispenza proved through experiments. Neuropsychological studies have confirmed that to change the brain and therefore beliefs, behaviors, and attitudes to life, it's enough to start thinking differently. That is it. It is not necessary to change something in the outside world. With mental practice of any actions, pure neural connections are rebuilt in accordance with the goal. Thoughts can become so real that change in the brain will be the same as if this event had already occurred in the practice. In the book Developing Your Brain, Joe Dispenza gives the results of a study in which members on one group mentally practiced piano exercises for one hand for 5 days without touching the keys. The second group on this time worked out similar finger movements live on the instrument. As a result, almost identical change occurred in the brains of participation in both groups. Activations and growth of the number of neural clusters in the same parts of the brain. Borders are only an ignorance. The healing that the doctor described is absolutely amazing. In November 2018, a woman arrived in the UK to meet with doctor. She was diagnosed with clinical blindness after a stroke. In stroke damage, neurological tissue recovery can occur within 2 weeks or never, and a person has to live with the result of vision loss or paralysis. The woman arrived late and only to learn how to live in blindness, but heard the performance of a man who had 50 tumors in the brain. He was found dead 3 times and healed. At the moment, she realized that everything was possible and began to meditate the same evening. She felt the heat on her body and cracking in her head, but she was uncomfortable and trusting is an unknown condition. When she opened her eyes, her vision was completely restored. She took a picture and the brain where there used to be darkness, light appeared. According to Joy, a man is self-programmed by robot with a set of automatic actions. Everything you think as you thought is actually filmfare and habits in your head. Every time something invested happens, our brains give off alarms. And he tries his analyze your daily thoughts. Most likely you will remember the moments of recent events or thinking with fear and distrust about what will be tomorrow. If you feel anxious and insecurity today, your concern will be confirmed. Joy advice asking yourself questions. Who I am? Why do I feel bad? What do I need to change in myself? What do I want to get rid of? There's many techniques for changing realities. Reality comes down to learning certain thoughts and beliefs to create new neural connections for particular thoughts of the brain to think differently. You can't embed new programs in your head. Replace them are old, unnecessary. The most difficult thing to make a choice, so the first advice from Dr. Joyce relates to past. We scroll from 60,000 to 70,000 thoughts in a day. 90% of them are the same as yesterday. The same thought leads to the same choice. Select behavior. Behaviors to experience. Experience gives that same emotions. Emotions cause thoughts. Still you think as usually. You continue to create the same life. Thoughts that are repeated became part of the subconscious. The second advice. Choose wisely what to think. Where you direction attention, where you direct energy. A quantum field response when a genuine desire is filled with positive emotions. That is, concentrations of the result and positive attitude are important for fulfilled desires. Third advice, don't be afraid of the unknown. The best way to predict the future, to create, it's not from what is familiar, but from the unknown. Then you're uncomfortable in the unknown, and that is where magic happens. Fourth advice, try the university. Do not try to counteract everything. It's not necessary to check the fulfillment of desires and for the future to come. It's not necessary to know how and when and where the desires events will occur. You need to trust the future and accept ego. Advice 5, learn how to feel thanks. This world carries immense energy. Once we get what we want, experience preciously gratitude. Through this sensation, the body called in advance beginning to feel that the expected event has already occurred. The experience of people who manage to control reality say that quantum field does not answer it what we want, but who we are. Our inner state, that is, you can simply choose your happy life. Why do many people who struggle to achieve the goal do not succeed? Even Dr. Hammer says when a person fixed on his desire, obsessed with the goal, mentally energy creates excess potentials. Remember the law force of actions, equal force of oppositions. Excessive potentials play a crafty role. They are not rested. A man mentally says universe, give me exactly that, and nothing else, that's the way. And hurry up, and activates counteractive forces to bring the balance into equilibrium to eliminate excessive potential. And this creates a lot of problems. Like think the goal is so important, complex, then such a universe will make the process of reaching it. In fact, a person himself affects walls between himself and his dream with only a wrong attitude towards her. Use insurance. Come up with 1 or 2 ways to achieve your goal. In addition to the main intended, then the fixation on the first part will automatically decrease. When choosing the path of creativity interactions with the universe, you need to be ready that a change can lead to discomfort, violations of the usual regime, and a period of ignorance. But the other way is much scarier, and it's chosen by most to change in state of pain and compassion. Obviously, it's better to develop in a state of joy and inspirations. Why wait? Dr. Joe Dispenza writes, I have seen a lot of miracles. Borders dry only from the positions of ignored knowledge. Joe Dispenza. How the universe responds to your words and thoughts. Each spoken word carries a total energy and emotional message. What you usually think and say depends not only on your mood but also on your reality. The power of your thoughts. Science has proved that thoughts are alive. When you think about something, you emit vibration energy. The more energy a thought has, the more its power to attract events into reality. At the psychological level, subconscious beliefs are neural connections. If beliefs carry low vibrational energies, then reality is distorted. According to the law of attractions, energy attracts energy. Therefore, if you attract those circumstances that are at the level of the dominant vibrations frequency, remember that words are the paint you paint with reality. Choose them consciously to create your dream life.